Welcome to the VOTU podcast. We at the Voices of the Underground, we're going to be talking about the incentives of the Steam blockchain, how they work now and how they could work in ways that would stimulate growth for the Steam network.
So my first thought is actually, no, we're doing okay here. We're seeing actually a pretty steady increase in the amount of posts that are coming through, the activity. You also mentioned something about the author rewards. So this is the author rewards currently, and it fits basically the exact same model that Dan was talking about. I posted about this months ago, and I was pissed off because of how unequal that distribution looks. And actually, it's improved since linear rewards, which is not my expectation. My expectation was that if you're looking at the light blue part of that graph, I thought that would be kind of smaller in a sense towards that middle section, because the old graph of this thing, it basically was just shoveling money into 20 accounts. And now you can see, well, it's not 20, it's probably it's 100 or 200.
But is that take into account where the money that's paying for the votes is going to?
Well, I'm not sure that this is all vote payment that's doing this. And it doesn't directly account for that, but this is author rewards. Yeah. And so, the bots make up something I don't know, maybe 5 million Steam power. And the rest of the Steam power that's in existence is 250 million. So your bot power overall is not substantial relative to the rest of the platform. You're still talking about 1 or 2% of the Steam power is tied up into bots.
But I mean, if there's always an incentive to use bots, then isn't that going to just keep growing?
That's possible, but that's because if it looks like a good investment opportunity, that's actually going to add more value to Steam. People are going to purchase and hold Steam power for the sole purpose of being able to sell votes because it's a good investment. That will drive up the price, which will ultimately make your author rewards even more valuable as you are running around and posting your stories.
I'll tell you, when I first started investing in Steam back several weeks before Dan resigned. It was around the time the price was 10 cents. And I sold out at 7 cents because of Dan's resignation or whatever. So I was really, really bullish on Steam back at that time. And I remember before then, I kind of lost a lot of heart for Steam when I realized I didn't have the incentive to produce anything of good quality. And the reason that was because I was on, the Steam Guild at the time, the one that was led by Ned. He let a group of people use his keys to vote for him. I was on their list, and I would make $30 every post, no matter what I posted, as long as I didn't post about Steemit. And when I wrote about Steemit, that was my best writing. And when I didn't write about Steemit, it was usually just something I randomly threw out there and I got a vote, and I was oh.
Yeah, I don't know how to respond to that, because that's pretty long ago. I mean, I'm looking at this now. When I kind of here's my last picture that I've sort of pulled out. This is probably out of date because I've pulled this from Steam Whales, and Steam Whales doesn't seem to be updating all that well. But this is the distribution of Steam, and the distribution of Steam, if you'll notice, that first one is the 0.1%. And then the pink one is the 1%. So, and this doesn't even take into account the Steemit fund that has 70 million Steam in it or something, some absurd number. So the distribution is actually worse than what I'm about to tell you by about 70 million Steam that's not even included in this.
So is this a recent graph or the?
Yeah, it's pretty recent. Again, he's probably back 2 months. Just some database has to be off or something. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure it hasn't drastically changed. But this is the distribution. You're looking at something 1% of the people on the Steam platform have 93% of the wealth, or 93% of that distribution. And that to me has been the central problem of this thing. And it's part of what prompted people to move away from hard fork 18 and sort of exponential rewards or quadratic rewards and go down to linear rewards, is because when you have that much power and then you square it, it gets absurdly powerful as a whale, as opposed to now where, like, it to me was a massive day for me when I went from a 1 cent vote to a 2 cent vote.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is freaking amazing. I have a post about it. I was still mocking the platform at the time because that just seems so absurd that I was.
Is this before the hard fork or after?
No, this has to be a year ago. So this is probably even before Hard Fork 18.
So it was even harder to go up a cent at that time. It was like,
it was basically impossible. So there's parts of linear rewards that aren't actually horrible, but to me they're really a backdoor fix for the problem. The central problem that we actually have is distribution on the platform. Because if I ask you, hey Beans, do you feel comfortable that 1% of the stakeholders here have 93%, and that's before I even include the fact that Steemit is just holding 70 million. So if I include Steemit in that, it's no longer going to be 93%. It's probably going to be like 95 or 98% of the Steem is in the hands of basically 30 people. And so that to me is the number one problem that we have.
I hear a lot of people talking about how Steem is valued based on what investors are doing. Steem is valuable because more people are investing in it. I feel like me and Beans and some other people, what we've been saying is that Steem will be valuable once it becomes viral.
Any of the applications, you mean?
Agrod, if you on that, what you think about the difference between valuing this platform and how Steem can become valuable through valuing what's happening on the platform versus Steem becoming valuable through investors buying into it.
So right when I started my entire witness campaign, whenever I do these things, I say, look, you basically have to start with a problem statement, then you start with a vision statement, then you kind of come into this thing and provide an operating plan, and you go after it that way. And part of doing that process for me was writing a very boring economic post. And that economic post is, my basic theory. When markets are actually functioning, the value of a currency is directly related to how much goods and services are provided. So that's proportional. And it's going to stay that way. And so basically, if you hold the amount of Steem constant, but you increase the amount of goods and services, then there's more value to Steem. And when I try to think about what's the best proxy for that, because I don't know how to really calculate all of the goods and services that are provided on an internet worth of Steem transactions. But what I can do is say, it's probably pretty proportional to the number of people that are part of this system. And so if I hold the amount of Steem constant, and there is currently a 10% inflation, but let me just ignore that for now, because compared to fiat, they put out $160 million a day that they print that's new, and we put out 26 million in an entire year. So I'm willing to negate that for right now and just say, look, my amount of Steem is basically flat. And so every new person that I bring into this that engages in our commerce, that's what's going to make this thing rise. So what is it that's going to bring people here? It's goods and services. And so those goods and services could be content creation. They could be transactions and business. And there's a million things. And then you also, things that might break that a little bit from a really good direct relationship that's healthy. You might get some speculation that's built into this, and that happens with these cryptocurrencies. So that might manipulate that price up or down at various times as people are making bets on the currency and trying to do short-term trades and things. We're looking at a price spike in SBD right now. It's designed to be $1. It got up to $3.80 last week. So clearly some things happen at times, but excluding that, the way that this thing ought to work is that the more people we have, the more commerce we're doing, that should be rising up the number of what the value of our token is. The velocity, which is the next hard fork, which is exactly designed to lower the barrier of entry and make it easier for everybody to post on the blockchain and get new accounts and get rolling, That's going to bring a lot of people into this. And then I think your smart tokens that are coming after that, where basically every community can have their own token. I think that's going to be a really big deal too. Sort of the way that Ethereum has been able to rise off of your ability to issue tokens, I think Steem will as well. So we're going to grow, and we're like 3 months short of that.
CryptoPie took the rap for that SBD pump. Just wanted to tell everyone that.